here are my top 10 favorite video games of all time, until now. This is set in stone for everyone from the beginning of time, and you can't disagree. If you try to disagree, we can go to Europe and we can fight to the death. Why Europe, you ask? Well, because of this, and this, and this. Europeans just don't play by the rules like everyone else. But seriously, you probably just beat me up, which is okay because I like pain. I still win. Creepy. Number 10. Mario Kart for the N64 was a major success for the console, and for good reason. It had a fantastic multiplayer, and it was a game that even my sister would play with us. It had fun and interesting tracks, and when you got that spiky blue turtle shell, you could tell that person in first place that it didn't matter what place you were in, as long as they didn't become the victor. Inferiority complex, anyone? Number 9. Grand Theft Auto 3, the game that started the open world craze of the last decade. When it came out, it was pretty much its own thing. Though I enjoyed this game and it made number 9 on my top 10 list, it pisses me off because the market became way too oversaturated with open world games. Though they still have a place, Final Fantasy 15 just wasn't a good idea for an open world game. Thanks for taking away my hope for another good Final Fantasy GTA 3. Number 8. Project Gotham Racing 3 was one of the launch titles for the 360, and I played the crap out of it. I loved unlocking all the new cars, and the graphical jump from the Xbox to the Xbox 360 shined quite nicely. Nostalgia all the way. Number 7. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 was an excellent game for the PlayStation. It was pure fun. Doing a kickflip into a manual straight into a 50-50 rail grind and ending the combo with a hill flip is only something I can do in my dreams as a teenager. Plus it had some killer skate videos and a decent soundtrack. I love when games add music by well-known artists. I mean, Papa Roach, Rage Against the Machine, Bad Religion, and Power Man 5000. What happened to decent music in games of yesteryear? Number 6. One day I walked into a GameStop at our local mall, hoping to find a new game to enjoy. As I was looking at some Xbox games, I stumbled upon a game with this artwork, and I thought something was very intriguing about it. Once I started playing it, I was like, holy shit, this game is awesome. Oddworld Stranger's Wrath was such an original game, in my opinion. I mean, you ran on 4 legs and your ammo was alive looking straight at you, and sometimes would talk to you while it was loaded in your weapon. How cool is that? To this day, I've never appreciated a random trip to a game store as much as this. Number 5. Kingdom Hearts was such a crazy experience. I mean, you're playing in a Disney game riddled with Disney and Final Fantasy characters. Well, characters designed by Square Enix. When this first came out, half of your conscience was like, why would I want to play a game by Disney? And the other half was like, well, Final Fantasy was cool, so I guess I'll give it a try. And man, were we glad we did. It had all the magic that you would expect from Disney and all of the cool of Final Fantasy, or Square Enix, who are cool because of Final Fantasy. You get the idea. Exploring all the diverse Disney worlds was so fun. I mean, who wouldn't want to shrink down to the size of Alice from Alice in Wonderland and explore that world in a 3D RPG? Number 4. Oblivion. I had to pick my conscience for this one. Though Skyrim was awesome on so many levels, I have to give my number 4 spot to Oblivion. I mean, I just love so much about this game. It was the first open world RPG on that scale at that time with massive structures, and the lush forest was just jaw-dropping when you exited the tunnel out of the prison for the first time. Coupled with that amazing musical score, you really never felt like you were on such a mystical adventure in an open world game up until this point. I guess I can't hate you all that much, GTA 3. Number 3, Resident Evil 4 for the GameCube. This game had such a good control scheme with the GameCube controller, and the graphics were good on the GameCube as well. The gameplay was super fun, and the action kept you going while making your way through the horror atmosphere. The weapon upgrades added another level of fun, and the villagers' AI was interesting to observe before one spotted you, and they all came running towards you with pitchforks and chainsaws. There were also some pretty cool quick time events and boss fights. Thanks, Leon, for making it to my number 3 of my greatest games ever. Number 2, Silent Hill 2. What can I say? I'm a fan of psychological horror games. This game was so creepy and the storyline was very intriguing. The gritty atmosphere kept you on your toes, and when you descended deeper into the levels of Silent Hill, you knew something scary would be waiting for you around the corner or behind a door. The eerie music and unsettling sounds would get your heart racing as you tried to explore a world of twisted monsters and disturbing characters. Silent Hill 2 will forever hold a place in my heart as one of the greatest horror games ever made. Number 1. Can you guess what game series it involves? That's right, it's a Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy X was the first one I ever played and one of the first solo experiences I ever had. A blessing and a curse. The only RPG that has ever come close to this level of awesome was the last 2 games in the Elder Scrolls series, Oblivion and Skyrim. Final Fantasy X was packed with awesome cutscenes and fun gameplay. I just kept going because I had to see what kind of artwork would impress me next. The environments were so vivid and creative. The story was very intriguing, and the heavy metal score during the final boss battle was just icing on the cake. Remember Blitzball, the awesome minigame inside of Final Fantasy X, which was a detailed strategy-based RPG that had upgradable stats and everything? You know what Final Fantasy 15 gave us? The Final Fantasy that was supposed to be the next great Final Fantasy? That's right, they gave us a crappy fishing simulation and made us drive around in a car with highways like they forgot the title of the game included the word fantasy. WTF, Final Fantasy 15, WTF. Though none of my top 10 have been created for any of the next-gen consoles as original titles but just HD remasters, I still have hope. Horizon Zero Dawn looks pretty promising, and I still haven't got my hands on a PSVR, which could create the whole wow, this is totally new and I love it feeling that my number 1 spot on this list provided for me. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed it or agree with this list in some way, please hit that like button.